Right now, somewhere over the world's oceans, a Boeing 737 is hunting submarines. It's not what you'd expect. It's the same airframe that flies tourists to Cancun, the same engines, the same wings, the same fuselage, but with one critical difference. This one carries torpedoes, anti-ship missiles, and the most advanced acoustic sensor suite ever built. This is the P-8A Poseidon, and right now, it's the most important plane in the United States Navy. It costs less than the aircraft it replaced. It outperforms aircraft 3 times its price, and in 2026, it does something no F-35 can do. This is the story of how American engineering turned a passenger airliner into the world's most effective submarine hunter. To understand the P-8, you have to understand the problem it was built to solve. Modern submarines are the hardest military targets in the world to find. A modern nuclear submarine produces almost no detectable surface signature. Its hull is designed to absorb sonar pings. Its reactors are isolated on shock-absorbing mounts. It can hide in 71% of Earth's surface and reach almost any coastline on Earth undetected. For 70 years, finding submarines was America's job. The US Navy built the most sophisticated anti-submarine warfare doctrine in history, and the centerpiece, for 50 of those years, was the P-3 Orion. The P-3 was a magnificent aircraft for its era. 4 engines, deep magazine, generations of crews trained on it. But by 2004, the platform was aging, and the threat was getting harder to find. Between 2000 and 2025, every major navy in the world invested in quieter submarines. Russia, China, even regional powers like Iran and North Korea now field diesel-electric boats that can vanish for weeks. You cannot find a modern nuclear submarine with a destroyer's hull sonar. You cannot find it with a satellite. You cannot find it with a fighter jet. The only way to find a submarine reliably anywhere in the ocean is from the air, with a specialized aircraft built around acoustic sensors and patience. In 2004, Boeing proposed a solution that defense industry critics called madness. Instead of designing a new military airframe from scratch, Boeing offered to convert the world's most successful commercial aircraft and turn it into the most lethal submarine hunter ever built. In 2004, Boeing made a decision that defense industry critics called madness. Instead of designing a new military airframe from scratch, Boeing proposed converting the world's most successful commercial aircraft, the Boeing 737-800ERX. Over 7,000 of these airframes have been built. The supply chain is global, parts are everywhere, and pilots already know how to fly it. That meant lower acquisition costs, faster training, and a logistics base that no purpose-built military aircraft could match. The P8A Poseidon was born from the same fuselage that flies tourists to Cancun. But Boeing engineers didn't just paint it gray. They reinforced the wings. They strengthened the fuselage. They added hardpoints under each wing for missiles, torpedoes, and sonobuoys. They built sensor stations where economy seats used to be. The result is an aircraft that cruises at jet speed, Mach 0.78, faster than any propeller patrol plane in history, and still loiters over a target area for over 4 hours without refueling. With in-flight refueling recently integrated into the fleet, a single P-8 can stay airborne for days. No other anti-submarine aircraft in the world can match that endurance. But speed and range mean nothing without the right sensors. And here, the P-8 is in a class of its own. At the core of the P-8's hunting capability is the AN/APY-10 active electronically scanned array radar. It can detect a submarine periscope above the wave height from over 60 nautical miles away in one sweep. The aircraft carries an inverse synthetic aperture radar capable of identifying ship class from over 100 miles. It carries an electro-optical and infrared sensor turret that operates day or night, through rain, through fog. But the heart of submarine hunting is sound. The P-8 carries 5 rotary launchers loaded with sonobuoys, small expendable acoustic sensors that drop into the water, deploy a hydrophone, and listen for the unmistakable signature of a submarine's machinery. A P-8 can deploy a sonobuoy pattern covering hundreds of square miles in under an hour. Every signal is processed in real time by the aircraft's mission system, then cross-referenced with a database of every known acoustic signature in the Pacific. This is the part you cannot replicate with any other aircraft. Not with an F-35, not with an F-18, not with a helicopter. The P-8 is purpose-built for an acoustic battlefield no one else can hear. And what happens after the P-8 finds the target? That's where this story turns. The P-8 is not just a sensor, it carries a weapons load that any frontline fighter would respect. 5 internal stations in the bomb bay, plus 4 hardpoints under each wing. In the bay, up to 5 Mark 54 lightweight torpedoes, each one a guided acoustic homing weapon designed to track and destroy submarines at depths of 2,000 feet. Under the wings, the AGM-84D Harpoon anti-ship missile, the same weapon a destroyer fires from its deck, each one a 488-pound warhead with active radar guidance capable of sinking a frigate-sized vessel from 67 nautical miles away. This means a single P-8 can hunt a submarine at the start of its patrol, transition to anti-surface strikes by the middle, and still have torpedoes left when it heads home. No other aircraft in the inventory does all 3 jobs in one sortie, and in January 2024, a US Navy P-8A demonstrated this capability when it tracked Houthi missile launch sites in Yemen, then participated directly in coordinated strikes against them from a converted passenger jet. This is what Pentagon engineers built when they stopped asking, "What's the fastest plane?" and started asking, "What's the smartest plane?" To understand how impressive the P-8 actually is, compare it to the F-35C, America's most expensive and most advanced fighter ever built. The F-35 is a stealth fighter. It's the most lethal air-to-air weapon ever fielded, but the F-35 cannot drop sonobuoys. It cannot loiter at low altitude for 4 hours. It cannot carry 5 torpedoes. It cannot identify a submarine. The F-35 burns through fuel at high altitude. Its combat radius is roughly 670 nautical miles, barely half of the P-8. And every minute an F-35 is over the ocean searching is a minute it cannot be at altitude defending the carrier. This isn't a flaw in the F-35. The F-35 is doing exactly what it was designed for. The point is, different problems require different tools, and when the problem is a Chinese submarine 800 miles from the carrier strike group, the answer isn't a fighter. It's a converted airliner with sonobuoys. In a single P-8 sortie, the aircraft can search an ocean area larger than Pennsylvania. 5 F-35s flying the same time would burn enough fuel to drain a destroyer's tanks and still miss every submarine in the search zone. This is the lesson the Pentagon learned in 2009, and it's the lesson rapidly being relearned today. You don't always need the most expensive plane, you need the right one. Let's talk numbers. A P-8A Poseidon costs roughly $175 million per unit fully loaded. That sounds expensive until you compare it to its peers. An E-2D Advanced Hawkeye early warning aircraft, $200 million. An MQ-4C Triton surveillance drone, $230 million. A B-21 Raider, estimated $700 million. By comparison, the P-8 is a bargain, and it does more than any of them. Now, consider what the P-8 replaced. The P-3C Orion required a maintenance crew over twice the size for the same flight hour. Its acoustic processing was generations behind. Its weapons capacity was lower. Because the P-8 shares 80% of its parts with the commercial 737 fleet, spare parts cost less, mechanics are easier to train, and FAA-certified repair shops can service it. That's a logistics advantage no purpose-built military aircraft can match. And then there's the fleet-wide impact. As of January 2026, Boeing has delivered 187 P-8A airframes to the US Navy and 7 allied nations. The fleet has logged over 700,000 flight hours. Each aircraft is designed for 25 years and 25,000 flight hours of service. It's not just America's submarine hunter, it's becoming the West's submarine hunter, and that matters more than any single procurement decision. Here's where the P-8 story moves from technology to strategy. The world's submarine fleet has more than doubled since 2000. The North Atlantic, the Mediterranean, the South China Sea, the Arctic. Every ocean is now a contested acoustic battlefield. The United States maintains 6 active P-8 patrol squadrons plus training units. Allied air forces operate another 5 fleets across NATO and the Indo-Pacific. Together, they form the most comprehensive submarine surveillance network in human history. In the Pacific, P-8s fly from Hawaii, Guam, Japan, and Australia. In the Atlantic, from Iceland to Italy. Together, they form what Pentagon planners call a persistent maritime presence, a network of ears in the sky working 24 hours a day. And this is the strategic genius of the program. America didn't just build a great aircraft. America built a great aircraft that allies wanted to buy. 8 nations now operate P-8s. 3 more have signed contracts. Every delivery strengthens the Western anti-submarine network. This is how American leadership actually works in the modern era. Not always the most expensive platform, but the most exportable one. The one that brings allies into the same operational picture, sharing data, sharing maintenance, sharing capability. Every adversary navy with submarines now operates in waters where a P-8 might be overhead. They don't know when it's there. They don't know when it isn't. That uncertainty alone changes how they operate and what they can risk. But there is a problem the Pentagon has to face. The P-8 program is brilliant, the doctrine works, the aircraft is proven. The only question is, are there enough of them? The Navy's planned procurement target is 128 aircraft. That's enough to maintain 6 active patrol squadrons plus training units. By early 2025, all 128 will be delivered. Production for the US Navy will close. After that, the production line stays open only for allied buyers, Germany, Canada, and continued upgrades. This is the part of the story where Pentagon planning meets industrial reality. Closing the P-8 production line saves money in the short term. It also means that if a P-8 is lost in combat, the Navy cannot replace it quickly. This isn't a flaw in the P-8 program. The aircraft does everything it was designed to do. This is a flaw in long-term planning, and one the Pentagon's Increment 3 Block 2 upgrade program is starting to address. The Increment 3 Block 2 upgrade gives every P-8 dramatically improved acoustic processing, longer sensor range, and better targeting against the newest Chinese submarines. The first upgraded aircraft was delivered in March 2024, with the fleet conversion scheduled for completion in 2025. And critically, the upgrade program is funded through allied co-development. The UK, Australia, Norway, and others share the cost of improvements that benefit every P-8 in the Western Fleet. The story of the P-8 Poseidon is, at its core, a story about how America builds power. For 70 years, this country has outcompeted every adversary not by spending more, but by spending smarter. In the Cold War, the F-15 Eagle defeated Soviet fighters not because it cost more, but because it integrated systems more elegantly. In Desert Storm, the M1 Abrams defeated Soviet-built tanks not because it had more armor, but because its fire control was generations ahead. The P-8 follows that same playbook. Boeing engineers took the world's most reliable commercial airframe, added the sensors and weapons America needed, and delivered an aircraft that cost less to acquire, less to maintain, less to fly, and outperforms every dedicated maritime patrol aircraft in history. This is the American advantage in 2026. Not raw industrial output, not the largest fleet, but the smartest, most adaptable, most integrated military force on Earth, backed by engineering culture that has been winning these competitions since the 1940s. Right now, somewhere over the Pacific, a P-8 is dropping a sonobuoy pattern over waters that no surface ship can reach. Its 8-person crew, working from passenger seat-sized mission stations, is processing acoustic signals at speeds that would have been science fiction in 1985. That is what American military superiority actually looks like. Not always loud, not always dramatic, but always, always smarter than the other guy. The future of the P-8 is already being built. The Increment 3 Block 2 upgrade is just the beginning. The next decade will see expanded LRASM integration, the long-range anti-ship missile that gives the P-8 standoff strike capability against surface combatants. It will see integration with the MQ-4C Triton, the unmanned high-altitude surveillance drone designed to spot targets the P-8 then prosecutes. Manned-unmanned teaming for maritime warfare. It will see continuous software updates, AI-assisted target classification, and direct integration with the joint all-domain command and control system that the Pentagon is building for the 2030s. And critically, the P-8 fleet will continue to grow internationally. Germany takes delivery this year. Canada is buying 14. The Western Alliance is building its anti-submarine network around one aircraft, and that network gets stronger every year. This is what American leadership actually looks like in 2026. Not always the newest, not always the fanciest, but the smartest and the most exportable. That matters when you're building a coalition. The Navy doesn't talk about the P-8 the way it talks about the F-35. There are no Hollywood movies about Boeing 737 pilots hunting submarines. It's not glamorous, it's just effective. And maybe that's the point. Effective beats glamorous, effective beats expensive. And in a long competition where the United States must outlast adversaries who can match America in raw industrial output, but not in engineering creativity, effective is the only thing that wins. Right now, the United States Navy controls the underwater battle space of the Pacific, not because of the F-35, not because of the carriers, because of a 737 with sonobuoys. American engineering doesn't always look like a science fiction movie. Sometimes it looks like an airliner with sensors, and sometimes that's exactly what the world needs. The P-8 Poseidon, built in Renton, Washington, flying over every ocean on Earth, and keeping the United States Navy ahead of every submarine that ever leaves harbor. That's what American leadership looks like in 2026 and for decades to come.